So yeah, it's on now. So good evening, Avi sir, and good evening. Thanks a lot for sparing time for this interview. So first of all, I want to introduce Mr. Avi Dwivedi. He's the founder of Untitled Studios, which is a startup, XR startup based in Kolkata. He is also the head of XRDI, which is a community, which is India's biggest XR community. It's a non-profit organization in which around 10,000 students and 15 plus universities are aligned. Avi works in the field of virtual reality, augmented reality, which is collectively known as mixed reality. Avi has also represented India in the XR ecosystem and India's XR ecosystem in various international platforms like Global Entrepreneur Week in USA and World Leader Summit and Thai Global Summit. So I'm really happy that he spared some of his time to share his experience about Unitile Studios, and so that we can learn from him how new budding entrepreneurs can move forward in their ventures and think about opening their own business. So, welcome, sir. Thanks a lot for coming.
Good evening, Himanshu, and thanks for hosting me here. It's an honor and privilege to be on your interview. The kind of work we are doing with virtual reality and the kind of work we are doing with community called XRDI. It's a non-profit where we are trying to help students get more knowledge, and basically it's a new technology, so get their heads around the technology, experience it in person, and things like that. So I believe the future is spatial computing, what I'm doing right now here with you. So it's basically means we need to in future we'll be interacting with the objects like they are something in front of me, like they're physically appearing in front of me, and I can interact with any other object. Similarly, I'll be interacting with computing in future. So this is a glimpse of what everybody would look like in upcoming futures. And time is really less in our hands to prepare ourselves for that.
Yes, sir. So like it's really cool talking to a virtual character. This is something that we don't do very often. Like, so it's something really interesting. So, sir, can you tell us about the entrepreneur venture? That what exactly in what domain your company is working? What are its main things? How did you come up with that idea about working in virtual reality? What was the motivation?
Actually, so since I started my work with, it's a long story, but to cut it short, I started my work with in 2013, where I started working in a company and where I learned how to code for iOS. So I started as an iOS developer. So while doing iOS development, I was doing a simpler 2D games for iOS and some apps as well. There I got introduced to 3D programming as well. So where like you do 2D games, you can also do 3D games. And when I figured out how 3D games works, it just blew my mind because it's so much in depth and there is so much you can learn. There I got more and more interested in that. Then we founded this company called Untitled Studios, and Untitled Studios is there since 2015. We are giving our services in the field of virtual reality, in the fields of computer graphics, in the field of medical imaging, and all these sort of journals. So we are giving this. We are a service-based company, and in 2020 we decided to give a few projects. We partnered with Geo, and we are coming up with few projects on Geo Glass, which is the Geo's mixed reality glass. So two projects are coming there. I'm really hopeful for them as well, and a few projects are also coming this year. So I'm working on two big projects. I cannot reveal the idea. It's very crucial, but two big projects are coming here as well in this year, on which I'm working on. So we were a service company, but now transitioning to a product-based one. So that is the whole arc of Untitled Studios, and XRDA started as a non-profit. I actually were getting a lot of requests from students who would like to learn things. So every other day, I used to receive messages like how to start with virtual reality, how to start with AR, things like that. So I just started a channel and started a Facebook group where I can basically unite people who want to learn and make their experiences better with the technology, so that I don't have to answer them one by one and again and again. So that's how it started. But now we are doing some great stuff. We are even having our entrepreneurship program where I'm also teaching a lot of students how to understand other things apart from programming, just programming. So things like how to manage your time, things like how an entrepreneur should think about business, things like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All because all these skills are not taught in a lot of colleges, but these are essential skills which one should know and to work. Even if they don't want to open an entrepreneur venture for themselves, this would be helpful for them in their job and everything.
For example, people management, it's hardly being taught anywhere. So
Yes, sir.
but if you want to build a product, you need to work in teams, and it's hard to work in teams. So that is something we are teaching. We are building good ethics, entrepreneurs with good ethics. That is my aim to give this society.
Yes, sir. Exactly. Exactly. When you decided to quit a 9 to 5 job and start your own venture, so what was your thought process? Because it's a really risky decision. You have a stable job, you have a stable income, but going into a new field, and especially for you, going into a completely unexplored field, because virtual reality is an upcoming field, and the future is still like people say that it would be it is a futuristic technology. So deciding to quit a 9 to 5 job, so what was the thought process that you had?
Initially, it was hard, but you should have some sort of started as some sort of backup, I would say,
Okay.
because if I don't have nothing, I could. It is actually hard to earn by your own self. So, for example, if you're working in a company, it's a safe environment. No matter
Yes, sir.
how good or bad you feel about your the environment, no matter how good or bad you feel about going to a 9 to 5 job, it is a safe environment at the end,
No doubt,
because
no doubt.
you don't have to struggle to get the work, you don't have to struggle to talk to clients, you don't have to struggle to put a label, a number on your services, which is called the cost of your services. uh, Deciding these things which are not we usually care about, or which are not the part of your own work, it is hard. So in the beginning we also struggled. We got one big project, and then we started working out, and I used to earn a lot that time with
Okay.
my services. But soon I figured out, after we finished that particular project, it was hard. Getting new projects was hard, managing the team was hard, and then onboarding new people was hard. So all these sort of things were hard in the beginning, but with time you learn. So with me as well, as the time passed, I think we handled it good. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, now we are not a very huge team, but we are a 12 people team, and
Okay.
yeah, it's working for us.
Sir, if it's possible, can you share about some of your projects? Obviously, not which are currently in progress, or like
Mm.
you have already delivered, so that the other students can know like what all projects can be there in virtual reality and how exactly what, because you have a company which has already delivered them. So what all projects we can think?
Hmm. It's hard to talk about a lot of projects because we used to sign some sort of NDA. NDA is basically a non-disclosure
Yes.
agreement, because in virtual reality, whenever you are giving a services to a company, the company basically wants that the whatever the services you are giving
Hmm.
remain as their technology, not your service.
Yes.
Right. So that is one thing. So I'll try to name a few good friends who own these sort of work, where we contributed. So I started. I am coming to a recent work, and that is I worked on a project with a company called I'm Local, and
Okay.
it's a Grenada based. Grenada is a South African Caribbean island. So there I started working with the government of Grenada, and they have this travel and tourism program where we gave our services. Apart from that, a few services we gave at in a Dutch-based company, where we were basically capturing all the drone footage of their sites, and then doing some photogrammetry stuff to reconstruct that into 3D models, and then creating the whole complete picture out of that. It's a
Okay.
very great visual experience. So some work like that, and apart from that, some small and big services, like a lot of Instagram filters for a few movies, where
Okay.
we built those were not Bollywood movies. There is also a good industry of movies in I would say in UK. So it's
Yes.
not very popularized, but yeah, there is. So for UK, we did a lot of work in promotions, like the movies promotions, and a lot of things related to that. So yeah, these sort of works, I keep getting these sort of works, and yeah. But now I'm also working on one of my dream projects, and that dream project is huge. I'm basically trying to build a version of Bhagavad Gita inside
Okay.
virtual reality,
Okay.
because
Really great. Really great.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So what I feel is basically our generation is transforming into a new digital being, and if our scriptures don't, I think we are losing a lot of knowledge, which is captured in just the textual format. So I think if I can visualize that, we have certain amount of power to visualize a better version, maybe, or maybe a version for future generations, so that they can see, look and digitize. So if we don't digitize, we might miss out a lot of information. It happens, and it happened a lot of time in the history as well, that a lot of things like Nalanda universities, which used to have a great amount of knowledge base, and right now it just destroyed and it doesn't
Yes, sir.
exist. So yeah, just to stop things like that, it's beneficial for us to get a digitized format, and a way to visualize it. It is not, I mean, I don't believe it's better than books, because with books you sort of create the mental picture. Whenever you read something, it creates a picture in your head about that particular thing, and that picture is based on how much uh, in depth you can think of about that object. But yeah, I think we'll do the graphics will do the justice as well. We have It is the right time now
Yeah.
to
Yes,
create.
especially because in the age of Netflix and Amazon Prime, like everyone wants to shift to watching a 3 hour movie or in that form. Like people are obviously books are an essential part. People read books, but still nowadays people prefer it should be a movie. So this would be a great idea and great venture.
Yeah.
Uh, so a small question, like we know that COVID has affected almost all the businesses in some or the other way. How do you
Mm.
feel that your particular sector, the sector of virtual reality and delivering the services and products related to it, how
Mm.
is that the sector affected by the COVID in any sense?
So there are two part of the industries, and they both are affected in different ways. One is the hardware manufacturing industry, and as we can see, the co-working spaces were shut.
Yes.
So a lot of people were not getting a chance to work on their products as fast as possible. So we lost a lot of working power there. So because of that, we lost one year worth of progress in the hardware fields,
Okay.
but it resumed quickly, and the best headset could imagine, which was not even imaginable before COVID, was the Quest 2. So even that came out, and that came out with a lot of subsidy by Facebook. So on the other hand, if we talk about the software, and then if I talk about the awareness of virtual reality, it grew insanely. It grew insanely. I know people like Pitbull, great uh, uh, artist,
Yes.
a lot of great artists did a lot of events in virtual reality, which was not possible. Now in 2020, they were looking a way to connect to their audience and meet them in person. And it was more in person with virtual reality. Microsoft got invested in a platform called ArtSpace VR, which is a virtual reality event platform. Even we did a few events at ArtSpace VR as well. So there, people became more connected with virtual reality words. The awareness about virtual reality grew insanely. So those were the plus points of COVID. Uh,
Yes.
so
Uh,
we saw a great amount of rise in the awareness and in technology itself, in software itself.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like it was great. Many events like OnePlus launched their Nord in augmented reality. So we had really many events, many companies shifting to it, virtual reality or augmented reality. So, like in entrepreneurship, there is a theory of effectuation which has various parts, and one of this is like patchwork quilt, in which they tell that about that we should combine partnerships with our clients so that we can increase the amount of work that we can do, and like we should align people along with us, and we should have small partnerships. So, what are your views on having partnerships, like client partnerships, and how we can develop good relations with our clients in form of partnerships?
Hmm. Interesting. So I would love to touch upon this specific subject in two ways. So there are two ways you can build these sort of partnerships or thing like that. So one is if you are specifically if you are selling services, okay. So the best way to do it, from my experiences of 6 years in doing services, is it works is exceptionally good when marketing and things like that. So don't offer them what you're gonna build, right? Don't offer them what you're gonna do for them and how much you're gonna charge for them. Just offer them and try to get the picture in their heads that what is going to be the end result of whatever the services we are going to provide, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
for example, if I'm building something related to marketing their products, so I don't try to make them understand that how the technology work and how things do how virtual reality work and how augmented reality work, what is the social impact, what is the psychological impact of the virtual reality avatars or anything like that. I don't They don't care about that. They care about the numbers. So I show them two things. One, the numbers from the past with the similar products we did or the similar services we did, and second, the numbers we can offer them.
We can.
So what I tell them, if I don't generate this number, this amount of numbers with my marketing product, or if I don't generate this amount of quality with whatever the work I'm going to put in, don't pay me. Okay. So
Okay.
then it becomes like a collaboration. We are
Like
on our quest to get the money. So we have to give that sort of quality, and then we produce that sort of quality, and then we earn what we require. So that get us much more ahead of the competition, because yeah, that is where we are also investing. So
yes,
then it becomes like a partnership, right? So we are sort of helping them that, okay, I make you grow, and in return of that you pay money. You don't just pay money because it's your responsibility to pay me money and risk everything on a FOMO or on a gimmick. It's not a gimmick or a FOMO. We can generate real values for them. We assure them. Okay. The second way, I want to say it as in the form of collaboration. So
hmm,
uh, in YouTube space, of course, we find. I mean, you might have seen our channel. We collaborate with all the people in the industry, and
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
uh, they are in great touch. There are a lot of people. So, not apart from just the podcast, there's a lot of companies actually collaborate with us as well, and we try to build things together. So sometimes we can provide them value in form of some of our services. Sometimes we can provide value in some of our connections. Sometimes we can provide value with some of our investments or things like that. So collaboration is the new way to do business. because nobody is an expert of everything. Everybody require everyone. Network is the net worth of a person. So this is why I feel that collaboration is the next way to go. And I invest hugely in collaborations. And yeah, I think we can achieve much more with collaborations, with mutual benefits. Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir. So this theory is also known as bird in hand technique. That
Mm.
whatever we have in our hand, or whosoever we know, we can contact them. We can use their expertise, and sometimes it for the other person it doesn't cost very much. Like if I ask you for a help, and in most of the cases you can help me very easily, so it doesn't cost you much money or much of your time. So
Yep.
in this way, if we can take these kind of help from our society or from our community, then it really helps our entrepreneurial venture. What I feel.
Yep. Yep.
Is it? So coming to the problem solving techniques. So what do you think? Having a clear problem statement is important, or going to the solution, or seeing the problem and going to the solution is a better approach? Or first clearing the problem statement is important.
Obviously, first you have to define your problems well enough. So we invest great amount of time in defining our problems. That what is exactly the problem, and why is the problem, and what are the key components of the problem, and what percentage of problem we need to solve immediately. What are the burning problems?
Yes, sir.
What are the what are the, you can say, cherry on the cake, things like that. So we have to first define our problem in terms of several perspectives. And always, whenever you are working on problem solving, I would suggest, especially in business, I won't say especially in business because it applies everywhere. Think in terms of what whoever you are talking to. Think in terms of what that gonna person see. Like, for example, if I'm talking to you, and if I'm talking to you about problems or any sort of questions, if we are engaging in some sort of interview, I have to think like what you will be thinking, and what are your inputs, what are your benefits, how I can benefit you the best way possible. I have to sort of put my feet into your shoes to understand your problem statements, and then act on that. A lot of time, the problem is not the key part. The communication is the key part. So, for example,
Yes.
whenever you're talking to a client, or whenever you're talking to anyone who could be a potential customer, I would say. So, a lot of time people miss the deal because they are too busy selling whatever they have, whatever the services they have, what are the qualities they have, whatever the previous past work they have did. They are just selling that. They are just salesmen. They are not sales consultant or sales advisors or whatever you want to say. Okay. So when I talk to people, I sit with them. I try to understand them as much as possible, and I sometimes just repeat their words. Okay, whatever they are saying, I just say, okay, the better definition, or the better, I would say, the better resolution I could give their problem statements, their burning desires, the recreation of whatever the mental model they have for the solution. Whatever, if I could redraw that in their, if I could parrot it back in their heads, it's 100% chance that they'll uh, see with the clarity that I can do it, because communication is the very crucial part.
Yes, sir. So basically, going to the depth of the problem, not just listening to the problem and jumping onto the solution, going to the in depth and really understanding what the real problem is. Because sometimes what we see from the above is not the problem. The problem is
Right.
something else.
Right. A lot of time, you think that if the problem takes a lot of time to solve, but with a simple UI and UX techniques, you can solve the problem pretty much instantaneously. It's just clever thinking, I would say, or a lot of people also say it, out of the box thinking. Yeah. So,
Yes.
but UX is about what you can do with the box.
Yes, sir. Yes. Makes sense. Makes sense. So just a very general question. So what do you feel that can entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur yourself, do you think that can entrepreneurship be taught in classrooms? Like we have MBA programs now, we have entrepreneurship courses in colleges. You are also part of one. You are also teaching one. So can entrepreneurship be taught in classroom, or it's the things should be learned in a practical way, and without practically getting into the business, we cannot learn it?
Both are correct. So I would say that entrepreneurship could be taught in classrooms, but it should be taught with specific mentors who have the authorities, who have did these sort of businesses in past, or basically with the proper case studies, with the proper analysis, with the proper business simulations. With XRDI, what we do is major part is also the business simulation. So we whatever we create at XRDI, we took it like an existing problem which we are trying to solve, so for somebody else, not for ourselves. So what it gives us is basically give us the very idea and of how you tackle this problem, how you create a product, how you come up with the solutions. So it is a practical learning, but it is also very I would say it is also what is the perfect word for that? I would say it is a very disciplined business simulation.
Okay.
Discipline is a good word. So you have your timelines, you have your deadlines, you have
Deadlines. Yeah.
everything's figured out, right? So based on that, you have to come up with your solution. You have the urgency, you have the need, you have the dependencies, that one person is dependent on the work you put in, things like that. And that is the more better way to solve problems or teach how to solve do entrepreneurships and things like that. Business simulation is the way to go.
Yes, sir. Makes sense. Makes sense. So like we nowadays we know that design thinking is really important. So what do you feel that thinking? How important is it to think different from the market? Like what the normal norms in the market, and how important is it that our company thinks different and delivers something different?
I think in opposite direction in this case. Okay,
Okay.
so with any product there are some USPs, right? Unique selling points. That is what you are, right? That is what differs you from the market. In there, definitely you have the leverage of thinking different and trying to come up with different ideas or try to market it differently and things like that. But that is a very small part of product. That is usually like 5 to 10% of the product. 90% of the product is the exact copy of what existing prototypes or what existing models already exist in the market, right? And
Mhm.
it's no shame to copying existing business models. It is a wise way to do it. Look at the case studies of any working applications or any working solutions or products in the market. They have a lot of similarities, right? So for example, Netflix has a lot of similarity in terms of monetization models to Hotstar. Of course it is, because
Yes.
that works. That is already the research of how people pay, the research of how the payment gateway should look like, the research how everything should look like is already there, and it's proven and it's tested and it's complete, and it's being transformed over that period of time, all the time, right? So it's no shame in I would say it's no shame is learning from others and applying that in your own existing solutions. I don't say that think out of the box and do something very unpredictable and very immature and very different. It doesn't somebody said that uh, good people copy, great people steal. So something like that. So I think it's good. You can, whatever your USPs are, whatever your ideas are, be creative with that. Think out of the box and everything like that. But whatever is already proven science, don't mess up with that. It doesn't require require you to mess up with each and every part of the product. You can use the existing models, they work, you have the evidence and data and analytics that they work. So it's no shame in copying that. And you see the same thing, whatever I'm saying, in all the products existing in today's time, right?
Yes, sir. Makes sense. Yeah, because the thing that is proven because of a reason. Because many people have done their research. It is a proven concept. So we can have our inputs to make a product a bit different, a bit unique. So, but there is no harm in using what is already proven.
Yep.
But like in the same context, in the context of design thinking, so what do you feel that design thinking is just about like fancy visuals and having a beautiful kind of visual, or there is significance of design thinking in the day to day of a business, not just developing the product, but day to day thinking different. How does thinking differently help in day to day working in a business, approaching a problem differently?
Hmm. Cool. So let me first talk about design. I see design from a very different perspective than a design itself. I'm not a designer. I'm not meant to do that. I tried a lot, but I'm not good with art, and I'm not good with designing the processes, because designing in my perspective is about deciding the rules and the boundaries and the limitations, things like that, right? Okay, this is the area, and the person should not go beyond that. That is for design. Okay, design is a designer's job is to build the constructs of the building blocks, right? With the building blocks they build the construct. On the other hand, an engineer's perspective is completely different. I'm more on the engineer's perspective. So whatever is feels impossible, we make it possible with whatever the way possible, right? We don't we also use abstract concepts and try to build upon on top of that to solve the problems. But our job is completely different from designers, and it's a miracle that we two work really together and then build things together. However, with design, I see design as an optimization process.
Okay,
Since I'm more into engineering, I see
through
it more
UI
as,
and UX.
yeah, as an optimization process. So for example, what I hate about government sites is the amount of information they try to collect. Okay, uh,
Yes.
use Swiggy, okay, or Zomato or any other website, okay, and use any government website. The difference is they require a lot of unnecessary information. The way government websites use captcha is very stupid. Okay,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be there, and if it is have to, then the way you have written it, it's very easy for computers to predict, so it doesn't make sense at all. So that design is basically how the information is well optimized, or there is a chance of optimizing is it much better, in such a way that it still makes a better sense, or in case if I have to add something, it adds the value with it. So I don't want to add anything that doesn't add value. So to me, design is just that optimization process.
Makes sense. And so I get it. So nowadays there is a lot of research going on UI and UX and how we can make the experience of the user much better. And also, like my second question was that how the design, like thinking different, can be helpful in the day-to-day running of the business, not the engineering part, but the day-to-day running, the day to because there are many problems in the day-to-day. So how thinking different can be helpful in that?
Hmm. I think I've not figured out the perspective of a designer. It works completely different. The way designers things are completely different than way engineers and problem solvers things. Still, I would like to add some perspectives on what how I see the world. Is basically we are very logical. There is no way, there is no more logical person than someone who codes. Because that is our job, we get paid to be logical, right? So I think in day-to-day situations we try to, we are problem solvers at the core. That is what we do. Give us a problem, and we became happy. Okay, I got a problem to solve. That makes me happy. Okay, doesn't matter at that it is a numerical problem, mathematical problem, or a social problem. It just tingles some signs in me, and I feel like, okay, I need to figure out some ways. I need to figure out some ways, some working mechanisms which could fit together and solve this particular problem for me, or basically give us a different perspective, different path, or different solution to this. I can reroute the way I interact, and or basically optimize the way I interact, so things like that. So
Yes, sir.
I hope it gives a perspective.
Yes, sir. Makes sense. Completely makes sense. I understand. So, sir, coming to the next question. So, like, have you heard about the lean startup methodology, which is like becoming like very famous in today's nowadays in the entrepreneurial sections and in the business schools and all?
Sorry, I lost you for I think 50
So,
seconds.
so like, so have you heard about the lean startup methodology? It is becoming very famous in the startup sectors and also in various business schools.
Hmm. I've not heard of the term. Can you describe?
So this methodology is so somewhat what I feel like after talking to you that you work on this methodology that before launching anything into the market, we should
Hmm.
have an MVP. We should do some market search. We should have
Hmm.
an MVP and then talk to our customers. Based
Yep.
on the feedback of the customers, we should reiterate our product and then
Hmm.
again transform it and again talk to a customer. So it is an iterative process rather than having a full product at once and then going into the market and then realizing it is good or bad. We should
Hmm.
go slow. We should go
Hmm.
step by step. So what are your thoughts that should we do the other way around, that having full investment at once, which was a traditional approach followed by many industries and it
Hmm.
works, or the other approach which most of the startups are following nowadays, that we should go small, talk to the customers what they really want, develop an MVP, show them, and then based on the feedback change.
Obviously, I prefer the MVP version because, yeah, that's what we do. Even as an engineer, the way you prefer to do things is, okay, let me make something really stupid, very small prototype or something like that. If I can do the core stuff first, so I make something which does the core. Okay, if I suppose I have to send a message, if I have to create a telecommunication app like Google Meet, on which we are talking right now, so I have to first be able to send one TCP/IP message from my computer to your computer. Once I have that core ready, now I can build the miracles on top of that. Okay, so that is what MVP does. Minimal viable product. You do a soft launch. You get some sort of numbers. You get how why people are interested in your product, why people are not interested in your product, what kind of money they could invest in your product, or what sort of time they are investing in your product, what is the CTR, CPI of your product, things like that. So uh, once you get those numbers figured out, you can sort of draw the lifetime analytics and then the ROI of a project, which means basically that how much amount you're gonna invest in your project to get what amount of scale. So yeah, these are the things we have to do, because if somebody is seeking, if somebody is bootstrap, then they can do whatever they want to do with their money. It's their headache, for sure. But if you are suppose going for funding, that is a way investors prefer. So I have never met a single investor who doesn't prefer this model, where you have some sort of a data about the sales, where you have sold some sort of copies of your MVPs, and you have the basically the analytics of how many people are interested to buy your product. Only after that, investors get interested to invest their money in your product, and then yeah, that is definitely the best way to go for it. Um, but the other way, yeah, for example, unless you are not a multi-million dollar company and you are not relying on, I would say, fundings or anything like that, only then go with product. And that happens only with very small products. If for example some product is huge, so even Netflix started with small MVPs and everything. So whatever the great successful products are there, first start with the MVPs and then they try to find the scale, that how we gonna scale up. So I think that is the best way to go. I agree to that.
Yes, sir. Makes sense. Makes sense. And this approach has like been really famous in the last 20 years. Basically, the start after the start of this startup era,
Hmm.
that the companies need to make an MVP of the product before just launching and then telling everyone about that. So,
Hmm.
like, sir, this final two or three questions that, like, now you are the pilot of your own plane. So, what kind of pressure do you feel that whatever decision I am making would be having an impact, like a huge, a monetary impact, that it can have losses, it can, you have a team dependent upon you, that if something wrong happens, then the team is affected. If something good happens, then the whole team is there to enjoy that. So what kind of pressure or what kind of psychology you go through before making the decision?
So we have some sort of SOPs to ensure that we don't make wrong decisions. We have some, we don't give the numbers. So for example, whenever we pick a project, you might already know, whenever we have to pick a project, you have to calculate in very detail that how much is the investment for that project and things like that. How much you require to build that, how much time you need to invest, how much cost you need to invest, workforces. Do you have all the expertise to take the project or not? Do you have people who has these skills to do the project or not? What is the learning curve of that project? What is, for example, what is if some research is necessary in a lot of projects, there is some sort of research necessary. In what time we can produce the prototype of that particular research. So things like that. So we have to very carefully pick the project and give our numbers, because if we make any wrong decision, it could affect our reputation as well as our clients time and money, and a lot of our colleagues could face horrible time because of one wrong decision. So it is very advisable to take that decision very wisely. Otherwise it's no point of regretting just because you want one more project. You make some unimaginable I would say unimaginable trust. You build some and wrong promises and things like that. And after you getting your project, you feel like, okay, I cannot do it. So it doesn't benefit anyone at all. So
Yes.
deadlines are our goal is to deliver whatever we have promised, more than that. So yeah, that is
So,
generally my
like
view.
having the full calculations, as much calculations as we can before making a big decision, and going through all the pros and cons and everything. So,
Mhm. So what I suggest all my team members is don't do even a single thing if you have not written it already.
yes.
So what we do is basically we create the whole estimates, and then we create the time requires for each and every segment to do it. So suppose if five people are working on one project, I need to know that in what order they will be working, what are the dependencies of those work, and in what order one person requires other person to finish their work. So based on that, the timelines are being decided. And if that time, so you need numbers. Without the tangible, without those numbers, you cannot sustain the project, or the delay is going to be ahead and ahead because of
Yes.
one person's fault, and you will not be able to figure it where the problem is unless you don't have already those numbers or those sheets. And do regular meetings. Without that is and also don't do too much meetings because even that is
Obviously.
a problem. So do regular meetings. By that I mean weekly 2 meetings are fine enough. If you want, doesn't, because people need the time to work on the project. They cannot invest all the time in generating those stupid numbers for you to know that what is happening. Okay. And also the most important thing is, whenever you are stuck at any part, no matter who you are, whenever you are stuck, seek for help. So, for example, if you are a developer, seek for help from Google, seek for help from or people around you, seek for help from whoever it is. Even if you require your company's CEO to help in this particular scenario, just simply ask, and then you'll find it surprising that people are more than willing to help you, because at the end whatever they require is basically you to figure out things, and they'll be more than happy to if they can help you in any ways.
Yes, sir. Very rightly, sir. Very rightly. So like, there's a second last question that Peter Thiel wrote a book Zero to One, in which he talks about that entering into an industry that has not been explored that much, that is at a zero level, or like that has not been explored, and going to one. So what do you advise that how we can, like, virtual reality is an industry which is in a nascent stage right now and which is growing right now. So what do you feel that what advice do you give that we should enter these kind of industries, and what should we keep in our mind while entering these kind of industries, like going zero to one? What is your
Hmm.
approach to that?
So yeah, the time when you enter industry really matters. uh, it is there with any sort of business. So suppose if you enter in the industry too early, then you will not see the rise in your lifetime, right? By lifetime I mean the business lifetime, which is hardly 5 years of struggle. After that you have to sustain. If you have to sustain the company, you have to grow, right? Otherwise it will not be able to you will not be able to uh, keep yourself on the same track. Insane It will be insane amount of pressures on you. So it is a very crucial decision to choose the right time to enter into some industry. If it is too early, you're gonna get bored. If it is too late, there will be too much of competition. So obviously virtual reality is now the good point, because we have the consumer ready products. We have whatever the technology we require, the technology is there. We can build miracles with virtual reality right now. But with technologies who are too early, so when there is no market, you have to first educate the market. So that's what even we did with XRDI. The another
Yes.
aim of XRDI is to educate and build the people, build the market of virtual reality, the very marketplace of virtual reality. So suppose if I build a product which is related to virtual reality, people even don't have the virtual reality headsets. People even don't have don't know about the virtual reality use cases or marketplace. They just think it's all about gaming, but it is not. So I have to. It's my responsibility to also educate the market. So that's what we are doing. When you're too early, you have to educate. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Completely makes sense. So like the final question. So, what are your advices and suggestions for any students who are about to enter this entrepreneurial field? That is that the right time, or they should wait for? Should they enter directly after the college, or should they wait and have some experience working somewhere? And any general advices that you want to give to the entrepreneurs or students?
There is only one right time, and that is now. If you don't start now, it is already too late. So please just hop in and start now. So why I'm saying is because whatever the idea is in your head, or whatever you want to build, or wherever you want to go, you find it glorified, or you find it very progressive industry or things like that, only because it is right now. In the future, in next 2 or 3 years, it will not be. The competition will be too high. The market is too saturated and things like that. So whenever we try to build a product, we don't build it for today. We build it for next 3 years. So we have to predict that how will the market be when I will launch the product, and that is the 3 year in futures. So we have to think about, okay, I need to come up with this product, but what will be the competition when I'll get ready with the product? What will be the market situations there? I don't have to think about, okay, what is right now, because the competition and everything is my idea will be a good idea even after 3 or 5 years, when I'll be prepared and ready to sell my product. So yeah, if you are not starting now, it's already too late, or think something which will mature a lot after maybe. So yeah, just don't think about that. If you need experience, get it from working, because that is the best way to get it.
Yes.
There's no university teaches better than the reality itself, the market itself. So
Yes.
the best critique is the customer. If you please your customer, you don't need to worry about what critics say. Um, yeah, so
Yes,
I think
so if we have the idea, so we should jump in at a small level, at a bigger level, but we should go for it. So,
yeah,
so,
yeah. So
so
it's always helpful if you have some sort of savings before you start. So otherwise, if you try to for example start your project with a fund, first it is very unlikely that any angel or any seed will you will get for your project. It is very hard to get seed level fundings. Second, it is not advisable, because the uh, amount of investment you would require in terms of a part of your company is huge, and it's not worth investing. So start with your own money, start very small, build your MVPs, figure your project, figure your USPs very well. Think about your project, make a paper presentations and models and everything, draw your product well, and you should be able to describe your product in one sentence, not one paragraph, one sentence, that what you do, just one thing. If you are thinking too many things, oh, it can do this as well, it can do this as well, it can do it, then maybe you have not completely figured out what the kind of tool you are building. Just think one thing that your product is for, and one person who you're going to target it for. What is your targeted audience? What is your targeted segment? You have to work on that.
very well said. Very well said. To the last point, that we should figure out the problem in so depth that we are so clear that we know that what exactly are we solving and for whom are we solving, so that we have a clear image in our mind. So
Absolutely.
so thanks lot, sir. Thank you for your time, and we took a lot of your time, but thank you. It was a great session. I learned a lot of new things, like how a real entrepreneur thinks and what is in the mind, and which industry, how we can enter an industry. So it was a really great experience for me. So
Thank
thanks a lot
you,
for
man.
your time. And
Thanks for hosting,
hopefully,
and I really loved if I helped anyways in your projects and whatever the journey you are on to. So it really appreciate the work of students, people are doing around us, universities and everything. So really would love to contribute in this journey.
thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you. I'll just stop the recording.